What's up mga kababayan? News that matters here. Dito sa video natin ngayon ay ating panoorin itong mga nagbabagang balita. Butatang butata, no? Itong si Bonget dito sa isang political analyst na si Sir Jose Alejandrino na kung saan itinawag niya si Bonget na stupido, no mga kababayan? Immoral at kurakot na pangulo di umano. Paano ba naman kasi mukhang insecure talaga, no? Itong si Bonget dito sa ating Vice Presidente na si Sara Duterte, lalo na sa kanyang ginawa na pagtanggal sa mga Duterte bilang miyembro ng National Security Council dahil lamang sa nakikita niya itong national threat sa kanyang posisyon. Ay nako, nakakahiya ka talaga, Bongit. Nakatanungan nga ni Sir Jose dahil ba ayaw na nilang bitawan ang kapangyarihan sa Malacanang at gusto na maghari sila sa matagal na panahon sa pagkakaluklok kaya ginagawa nila ito na patuloy na politikahan at siraan ang mga Duterte. Anong take nyo dito mga kababayan? Pero bago ang lahat huwag nyo po sana kalimutan mag-like at subscribe para updated ka sa mga uploads ko araw-araw. At yun na nga no mga kababayan, dagdag pa niya na hindi lamang si Bonget no o ang ating presidente ang obvious na immoral no, kundi dinamay niya na din pati itong mga kongreso na immoral na ang kanilang ginagawa. Hay nako, na kung itatala di umano sa history no, ang administrasyon nito, ito na atang pinakamalalang kurakot ng gobyerno na nagdaan di umano. Agree po ba kayo doon mga kababayan? Kung kaya naman hindi ko na patatagalin pa, ito na ang buong video.
Sir Jose, magandang gabi po. Si Admar po ito. Ano naman po ang masasabi niyo dito sa panibagong revamp na naman po, pagbabago sa hanay po ng National Security Council or NSC, kung saan yung Vice Presidente at yung mga dating Pangulo ay hindi na po kabilang dito sa magiging bahagi o bubuo dito sa NSC po na ito. Para sa kaalaman ng lahat, ito pong NSC nabuo during Elpidio Quirino nung siya po'y Pangulo at kasama po yung Vice Presidente doon sa pinaka-original, Executive Order number 330. At kung di ako nagkakamali, sa panahon ni dating Pangulong FVR Ramos, ay naisali dito yung mga dating mga presidente. Pero sa ngayon po, na administrasyon, wala na po sa hanay ang Vice Presidente at yung mga dating Pangulo.
You know, Almar, the idea of the National Security Council is to have your top officials there who will give you divergent views because nobody has a monopoly on wisdom. We have so many problems, and so, you know, everybody should be able to give their views, no matter whether, you know, they came from different political parties. And I think it's a very big mistake for Bongbong that and take out, you know, Inday Sara and Digong just because it's for political reasons. So what will he end up having? He's going to end up having only people in his government who are all afraid to talk and speak out. And that's what he wants because,
Correct.
you know, that's how you silence and you're able to rule this country when nobody talks against you.
Tama, no? Na talagang ginawa yan ni Bonget para hindi komentahan nila VP Sara at PRD ang mga kabangagang ginagawa ngayon nitong administrasyong ito. Natandaan niyo mga kababayan na pinapangarap ng mga yan na sila ay maupo sa mahabang panahon na kontrolin ang bansang Pilipinas sa kamay nila.
And I think that's a very big mistake he's making. Because if I were in the president's place, I should be happy to have, you know, people from different spectrums, past presidents, you know, present there, and other past leaders whom you think are worthy of giving, you know, sensible ideas in the National Security Council, because that is the purpose of the national. And besides, why do you take out Digong, President Duterte, and Inday Sara? Why do you consider them a national threat? That's ridiculous. Everybody will laugh at that. You know, a national threat? And that was a justification for it. They said, you know, we have to look at our national security. Why? Just because somebody doesn't agree with you, you think either that person is a national threat? You must be really stupid to think that way. And that's the problem of this government. It doesn't think. It stopped thinking a long time ago.
Ayan ha, ang mismong political analyst nang nagwika na stupid di umano ang ating presidente sa ginawa niyang ito. Kakahiya talaga.
Opo, and para sa kalaman ng lahat, gaano po kahalaga itong NSC, yung pag-convene po nito every time na kailangan o regular na pag-convene ito? Kasi balita po natin parang hindi pa yata nag-convene ito ng buo talaga, kasama mismo rin nanguna ang Pangulo, kung meron po ba kayong mga narinig. Kasi sa panig po ni Vice President Inday Sara, bago siya tinanggal dito, kabilang ito sa binagyan niya ng emphasis, no, na never siya na naka-attend ng pagpupulong dyan sa NSC. Kinisyon pa nga niya ito during sa assessment sa kanya na walang security threat sa kanya, kaya nga humihingi siya ng minutes, sino yung mga pumirma doon sa minutes, bakit nakapagpalabas ng pahayag ang NEC na ni minsan na hindi pa siya nakadalo sa anumang meeting simula nang umupo siya bilang pangalawang Pangulo.
You know, all this is window dressing, okay? It's just for propaganda. I mean, for them to show that they're doing something. Because the truth of the matter is that they do not want to hear divergent views, which is the idea of having a National Security Council to talk about the issues really concerning the nation. That is the idea of a National Security Council. Because these issues that we have, sooner or later, will pose a problem of national security. Okay? So what do? You just want to show you're doing something when you're not doing anything. So what, you reorganize it? And how do you reorganize it? In the most stupid way. You get rid of those who have divergent views, and you only put what? People there who are scared to tell you the truth? What kind of a president are you? You must be really stupid to do that. No president in his right mind who's sincere about solving the problems of the nation would do such a thing.
Opo. And sa mga pangyayari pong ito, dapat po ba itong ikabahala ng taong bayan? Kasi parang nabibigyan lang ng emphasis dito yung away po sa politika at hindi mismo yung malapit sa bituka ng taong bayan, which is patuloy na pagmahal ng mga bilihin, yung kahirapan, andyan pa rin po at tila wala silang, kung pagbabatayan natin yung mga pagtatanaw at mga surveys po, ganyan po yung resulta po, Ginoong Jose.
You know, I don't go by these surveys because a lot of those surveys are paid surveys, you know, to show that they're doing something, and all this is ridiculous. I go by common sense. I go and talk to people outside. I talk to people in the market. I talk to people in the groceries. I talk to tricycle drivers. And I ask them, what do you think? And I'm going to tell you something, okay, which I know that they will never print anywhere or tell anyone. A lot of people in this country are very angry. And that number keeps growing and growing. And if you took an honest survey of the popularity of Bongbong Marcos, he would be down to 10% rating. I'm willing to take a bet on it.
Marami rin po sa mga ekonomista nagkukomento, mukhang talagang totoo yung mga, kasi syempre, Sir Jose, nung nakaraang eleksyon, na didinig po natin yung mga salitang mahina, weak leader. Mukhang ngayon nagmamanifest na, ayon sa mga ekonomista nagsasalita, na maaari namang may gawin ang Pangulo dito sa issue po ng budget, national budget. Pero ngayon, mukhang wala siyang say sa mga nangyayari. Sir Jose, ano pong sapantahan niyo doon, sir?
Look, I've always suspected that there is a conspiracy about all this, you know. It's to, and that they want to show that Bongbong Marcos is innocent and is not involved in all this. I have my doubts because if you notice in this SONA 2024, he talked about many things, but he did not talk of corruption. Then, his first executive order, number one, was to abolish the anti-corruption commission in the office of the president. So all these are telling me that he's doing nothing and doesn't want to do anything about corruption. Why? Well, you know, I think the answer is obvious. When you do not do anything about corruption, you are an accomplice to corruption. It's as simple as that. You know, it's common sense.
Tama.
Opo, sa iyo pong experience, sir, sa pamamahala, being a former presidential consultant, may nasasabi ba, sir, itong mga Amerikano hinggil dito sa estado ng ating pamumulitika sa Pilipinas? I mean, may nababanggit po ba sila na, kayo mga Pilipino, madali lang kayo bilhin. Basta ang usapin ay pera.
Well, you know, just before the February 1986 revolt, the CIA chief was talking to me. And he said, you know, Filipinos are easy to handle. He said, everyone is for sale. Your politicians, your journalists. He said, the only question is the price. It hasn't changed. We can see that among our congressmen, they're obviously, you know, immorally corrupt. The way they handle things, the way they conduct their hearings. I mean, one doesn't have to be a genius to find out that there is absolutely something wrong in our Congress.
Agree po ba kayo dun sa winika ni Sir Jose na ang ating mga kongreso ngayon immorally corrupt, na sila mismo binabastos ang konstitusyon? Paki-comment nga ang inyong opinion sa ating comment section ng ating mapag-usapan.
And then what do we have? We have a lot of people there who have been convicted of crimes, and there they are pretending to be saints. So, you know, we have, I think it was, what was it? One magazine, I forgot the name, that called the House of Representatives as the biggest den of thieves. I think it was BizAsia or something like that. Okay, I don't remember. This was some time ago. And obviously, our Congress is full of corrupt people. There are a few good ones like Rodante Marcoleta, but they're so few. And when the others are quiet, the other congressmen are quiet and don't talk about corruption, it's because they are accomplices to corruption.
Agree, no, mga kababayan? Ilan lang talaga mga matitino sa kongreso, kamukha ni Congressman Dante Marcoleta.
When you know, it's like Rodante Marcoleta. He's the one who speaks out openly and truthfully about things. That is a man I can trust. But when your congressmen, they know what's going on inside the Congress and they keep quiet, that means they're all part of it. Okay? It's as simple as that. It's common sense.
Sir, bago lang si Partner Admar, ano sa tingin niyo, sir, nakikita ninyo sa electorate, Filipino electorate, ngayon pong laganap ang issue ng korupsyon? Sa ibang mga bansa, kaunting issue lang, sir, ng korupsyon, pinagre-resign nila yung mga leader eh. Pero ngayon, matindi na ang mga nangyayari, parang tayo mga Pilipino walang kibo, parang tolerant tayo sa mga nangyayari sa pamamahala.
Well, you know, I tell you that if the Filipinos do not do anything about corruption, God's wrath will fall on us because God cannot stand corruption.
Correct.
And I'm telling my fellow Filipinos, my countrymen, you either do something about corruption, or if the wrath of God will fall on your head, you only have yourself to blame because you kept quiet. That's what I would tell all my audience. I said, you know what's going on in your country, and yet you keep quiet. For example, you take the Catholic Church. I had an exchange on social media with Cardinal David, and I told him, why is the Catholic Church silent on corruption and immorality? That's not politics, I said. That is within your domain, your spiritual domain. Why are you quiet? I don't understand it. The only thing I can think of is that maybe they've been captured by Satan.
Sir, huling topic na lamang po. Ngayon pong si MJ po ulit ito. Sir, malapit ang inauguration ni US President Donald Trump ulit as the US President. Meron ba kayong nakikitang maaring pagbabago sa political landscape, sa geopolitics natin, ng mga bagay-bagay?
There's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of changes. Okay. I myself have made suggestions to President Trump. I mean, I send him a lot of suggestions and even recommendations, and he has adopted quite a number of them, okay? So, because he knows I'm not a politician and he's not a politician, he prefers to hear from people who are not politicians. So I tell him exactly what I think, and he listens. And I told him, you know what has gone wrong in all this throughout the world? Why are you having millions of illegal immigrants going across to the United States and millions others to Europe? I'll tell you what the reason is. Because they have no opportunities in their country, and so they are obliged to move to another country, and they look to the United States and to Europe. And you know why? I said, there is no development in their country because there is corruption. These are corrupt regimes. I said the same thing is happening in the
Correct. Kaya ayaw nang mag-invest ng mga international investor sa atin dahil kitang-kita nga nila ang korupsyon na nangyayari sa ating bansa.
Philippines. We have 350,000 undocumented Filipinos in the United States. Why? Because those poor souls saw no opportunity here in the Philippines, and so they went to the United States. That is the source of illegal immigration in the United States and in Europe. And it's the source of immigration from our country to other countries because this country has done nothing. These governments have done nothing for the people because of a lot of corruption. And I told Donald Trump, I told him, Don, I said, you know, if you don't take a stand on corruption in developing countries, you will continue to have these problems of illegal immigrants. Because the solution is to stop illegal immigration is you make sure that there are no corruptions in their countries of origin so that they develop, they have jobs there, they have opportunities. I said, this is common sense. And, you know, he agreed with me. And you'll see what's going to happen. I told him, you know, you can stop it because you can do it through executive order. You can impose sanctions on corrupt countries. You can ban the corrupt officials from those countries from entering the United States. You can even freeze their assets. Biden did it to the Russian oligarchs.
Pero di ginagawa ni
Okay?
Bonget.
And then I said, just seize their assets and return them to the country once they have an honest government. Return their assets. Seize them. I said, there are solutions. And I've given him a number of solutions. Well, we'll see what's going to happen.
Magandang araw mga kaibigan. Gusto kong i-share sa inyo ang resulta ng isang online survey. Presidential survey to. 66,000 respondents ang bumoto sa survey nito. Ginawa ni Kainaman EH channel 21 hours ago. So wala pang isang oras, wala pang isang araw, ang dami nang bumoto. 66,000 votes. Okay, ito ang tanong. Kung sakaling kumandidato sila sa pagkapangulo sa 2028 presidential election, sino ang iboboto mo? So, VP Sara, Martin Romualdez, Amy Marcos, Raffy Tulfo. So, ito po ang resulta. Unahin natin. Raffy Tulfo, 5%. Amy Marcos, 2%. Martin Romualdez, 2%. VP Inday Sara Duterte, 91%. Grabe. Halos 9 out of 10 respondents o voters pumili kay VP Sara. Magbasa tayo sa mga comments. Dominic Tulipas. Kung ako lang po masunod, ang gusto ko ngayon na maging Pangulo si VP Sara Duterte kasi po matagal pa ang 2028. Marami na mga nangyayari. Si Lorna Ferguson. VP Sara is the best president ever. Si Cambalso Brimonte. Noon gusto ko maging Pangulo kahit sino man sa mga Tulfo. Dahil tumutulong naman talaga sila sa mga inapi at nangangailangan. Pero mula nung kinain nila yung sarili nilang mga salita, nang dahil sa politika nawala na ang bilib ko sa kanila. Una, nung sinabi nila na hindi sila tatakbo sa kahit anong posisyon. Dahil sabi nga nila, pwede naman daw tumulong kahit hindi publiko. Pangalawa, sabi nila ayaw nila sa political dynasty. Dahil kapag daw pamilya ang nasa posisyon, sigurado daw wala gagawin yan kundi mangurakot. Pero ano nangyari? Si Raffy Tulfo, senador. Anak niya congressman ng Quezon City. Asawa niya party list congresswoman. At ngayon, pati mga kapatid niya na sina Ben Erwin tatakbo senador. Ate nila na si Wanda tatakbo party list congresswomen.
Lahat na lang sila.
Pati mga pamangkin niya at staff sa programa ni Raffy Tulfo tatakbo din under party list. Kaya kahit kailan, di ko iboboto ang mga yan. Isa lang dahilan, wala silang isang salita. Okay. Ang pinakamalakas na kalaban talaga ni
Ito mga kababayan, bali-balita na itong si Senator Tulfo may alam pagdating sa smuggling na nangyayari sa ating bansa na kung saan nga ay kinasasangkutan ng mga bangag. Pero bakit wala itong comment pagdating dito? Senador pa naman. So doon pa lang wag nyo nang iboto, no? Parang si Senator Amy Marcos to na napatitikom ang bibig at ayaw banggain ang mga kamalian ng administrasyong ito. Sa madaling salita, wala din tayo mapapala dito dito na okay na siguro maging reporter siya, broadcaster sa harap ng TV, pero hindi ang maging presidente ng ating bansa.
VP Sara is ito si Senator Raffy Tulfo. Kaming mag-asawa, noong una, nanonood kami sa Raffy Tulfo in action. Lalo na aking misis, talagang nag-o-overtime siya. Kahit 10 oras na ng gabi, nanonood pa rin sa Raffy Tulfo in action. Kaya lang, nung nagsimula nung yung sa airport, yung nawawala daw na luggage. Tapos binuking ni Maharlika na parang drama lang pala. Nako, doon ako nagsimula na magduda kay Senator Raffy Tulfo. Anyway, basta ang maglalaban sa 2028 Tulfo versus VP Sara. Jonathan Torda, sabi niya, I voted for VP Sara Duterte for President. Auring, we love and always support VP Sara Duterte. Siciliano Provido, wala nang iba, VP Sara ang iboboto ko. So, ang mga nag-comments dito, poros mga supporters ni VP Sara. Pero mo, 66,000 votes, wala pang isang araw. 91% kay VP Sara, 5% lang kay Raffy Tulfo, 2% lang kay Speaker Romualdez, and Amy Marcos 2%. Malala ko yung pinaka-latest na survey, I think November ata lumabas yun, or October, last year. WR numero. Tay, sina VP Sara at Senator Raffy Tulfo at 24% each. Ang pinakakulelat, si Speaker Martin Romualdez at 1%. So, sa isang patas na eleksyon, hindi talaga magpre-presidente si Speaker Martin Romualdez kahit anong gawin pa niya. Okay?
Dapat lang.
Uubusin man niya pondo, akap, ayuda. Wala, hindi umi-epekto yung kanyang ayuda eh. Wais na ang mga Pilipino ngayon, tatanggapin yung ayuda, tapos iboboto ang gusto nila. Kasi ang tao, pera pera namin yan. Bakit hindi namin tanggapin? Kaya lang kung tingin nila mabibili ang boto, palagay ko hindi na. Nag-iisip na ang Pilipino ngayon. Okay? So, wa-effect ang mga ayuda ng mga kongresista.